Okay, everybody, let's get started. My name is Ross here at Church Windows, and today we're going to be working on visits and setting them up and everything. I have Kellyanne with me to answer your questions throughout the webinar. Try and keep them on topic, though, if you can. All right, so the visits section of the program is situated in the membership database. It's basically used to keep track of visits and personal contacts made with the people who are entered into the membership or the members and visitors database. You can record the date of the visit, who made the visit, the reason for the visit, location of the visit, length of the visit, um, uh, the date of any follow-up, and then you can have also there's a section for comments as well, and you can then create reports based off of this, based off of that information. And because of the nature of the visits can be pretty personal or have some confidential information in it, depending on what kind of information is recorded, especially in the comments section. Um, Visits has its own special section in security where you can set it up so only particular people can go into visits at all. Only particular people can see certain comments or who visited whom, that sort of thing. For more information on setting up passwords and things like that, you can look in the help section, the admin manual or the admin manual on the topic security and passwords. So to get into visits, you open up membership like I already have, and then you click on visits. That's one way to get into it. Another way, let me close out of this, is you can open up members or visitors, and then on any particular person in the database, you can go up here to the top and click on visits. And then when you do that, it's going to bring up the visits screen for that particular person, and it's going to show you any visits that they have entered. Whilst on the screen, you can click the little X right here, and that'll clear out the search for that particular person and then show you everybody who has a visit recorded in the time frame. I'm gonna just go back in. All right, so the most important button essentially on the visit screen is the add visits button here. When you want to actually record the visits within the program, you click on that, and that will bring up the new visit window where it says person here. You can either type in the name of the person, type in Nina, or you can click on the drop down and scroll through. It is sorted alphabetically, or you can use the left and right arrow buttons and scroll through the list of names. So I'm just going to Nina. So I have Nina selected, and the date of visit defaults to today's date. You can click on the drop down, and it'll bring up a calendar where you can go and select any previous date, or you can highlight it and type in your own date. And then technically, the person and the date of visit are the only things you need to enter on this screen. You don't have to put in who did the visits or the reason or any comments. Obviously, the more information put in, the more you'll be able to report on and record. The visited by drop down, we have a few put in for this sample data, nurse, secretary, deacon, senior pastor. You can add and delete or edit your own by clicking on the plus minus button here. So you do that, and then it'll bring up a new window. The visited by. So this is where you can create your code and descriptions for anybody. So let me just put say A for administrator, and then add it to the list. And now I can select administrator on the previous screen. In general, we recommend for this visited by section doing the categories of people making the visits, not necessarily the names of people, just because obviously people can come and go, and if someone did a few visits and then leaves, you can't really delete them from this list, or it'll delete their code from that recorded visit. So it can lead to a cluttered up basically drop down menu. But if you're fine with that, you can put in people's specific names instead of just kind of the category of person they are. So I'm just going to select administrator and click OK, and you can see it is highlighted. And then reason and location are set up the same way. You click on the pencil, and you can put in your different reasons for your for the visit. So just select first visit letter, and then location. Same as visited by and reason. You can edit, create, and delete your own fields, and then select it from the drop down. The drop down is searchable. You can type in the different letters and then select it that way, or you can select it from the drop down. And then the length of visit, again, is optional. It defaults to 30 minutes. If you don't want to record the length of a visit, you can just click the X here to clear it out. And it says 0 minutes, but when you look at reports and things like that, it'll just be 0. It will say minutes or anything on that. But let me just, and then you have minutes, hours, and days as a different option. So I'm going to just put in, say, 2 hours. And then the follow-up date, you can record if if a follow-up visit is needed. Again, you can type in the date if you want to, if you know the exact date. All right, and then, or you can select it from the drop down. And then there's also the option, if you click on the little calendar icon on the right there, to calculate the follow-up date. So say you meet with this person every say 6 months, so you can put in 6 here, and then in the drop down you can put in months, then you close out, and then it has automatically calculated the follow-up date for you. And then if you guys use Scheduler and you want to record the follow-up date in the in Scheduler, so you can use it as a reminder and things like that, you can click Add Event in Scheduler, and then when we click OK in the bottom right, it's going to bring up the basically Add Event in Scheduler window, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. And then the comments, you can put whatever you want. You can put in whatever you want, and as much text as you want. It can be pretty long, and then again, the security can be set up so only say the senior pastor can have you can have it set up so the senior pastor's login is the only one that's able to see the comments made by the senior pastor. And then down below here where it says copy visit to, what this does is essentially, say it's a family visit, instead of you're visiting just one person, you can copy the details, the visit by and reason, and things like that to everybody in the family, or just the adults in the family, or only the children in that particular family. In order to do adults only or children only, you have to make sure that the directory report order field is filled out on the individuals. When you set the people up, it reminds you to fill this out. So hopefully you have those entered. And then over here on the right, we have the two checkboxes where you can, if you have them checked, the comments and the follow-up date will be also copied down to the rest of the family, if that's what you want. So that's why we have those options there. Ready? And then so I have the add event in scheduler checked. So when I click OK, the new event window will pop up. You can see it has the start date listed on it for 6 months from the original visit, and then you can put in the time if you want to, if you have that entered. Scheduler just defaulted to 9 to 9:30. And then you can choose the locations and contacts and everything down here at the bottom. If you guys have more questions on scheduler, we recorded a couple webinars in the last few weeks that are also available on our website if you want to learn how to if you want to learn how to use scheduler more. So just click save. That's added, and then now you can see in the list that visit to Nina we just recorded is put together right here. By default, the visit screen sorts alphabetically. We can change that. I'll show you how to do that here in just a minute. But before we do that, after you've recorded a visit, it's really simple to edit it if you need to. If you say you realize you recorded the wrong visited by, or you need to add more information to the comments, that sort of thing, all you basically need to do is pull up the visit in the list. So let's say you're starting from scratch, you can just click on visits and say it was Nina's visit that we just recorded, had some incorrect information on it. So you click the little plus sign to the left of Nina's name to expand it and then see all the different visits she has recorded. She only has the one. But say we need to change the visited by to somebody else, you would just click on it, and then you can click on the drop down and select somebody else. You can also change the reason. And then to save it, you just, essentially just click off of it, and it saves it for you automatically. And then, so that's just essentially all you need to do to edit a visit. Deleting a visit is much the the same way. You just pull it up in the list. So let's delete Donna's visit. All you need to do is just go over to the right, click the red minus sign button, the delete button, and it's going to bring up a pop-up. So just to confirm that that is what you want to do. So it says, do you want to delete Donna Bell's visit on the 15th with the pastor? And so it gives you a little bit of information on it, just so you know you're deleting the right one. You just click yes, and it is now removed. The default layout for this particular screen is, grouping and sorting by person, and then it shows you all the different columns. It shows you all the different columns that are it's all the different columns that are available here. But say you guys don't have scheduler, or you don't really record duration or follow-up dates, things like that, you can easily remove that and declutter up your screen. To do that, you just click the change dates, filter, and sort button here, and it will bring up the filter visits screen. To change what information shows on the grid itself, you can go to the columns tab and just find, say, follow-up date. You can click on that, and then you can click on the arrow pointing to the left to remove it, or you can just double click on it to remove it as well. And so I just did that too. So I removed duration, follow-up date, and schedule event. And if you don't want it to sort by person anymore, you want to sort by who did the visiting, you can do that by going to the group and sort tab. So like I said, by default, person visited is the default sort. You can change that by clicking on the drop down and going to, say, let's just go visited by, and click OK. So then you can see it's now sorting by who did the visits, not the person. If you don't like the grouped by option, where you have to click the little plus sign next to the thing to get all the visits that fit to that, you can go back to change dates, filter, and sort, go to the group and sort tab, uncheck group by field 1, and click OK. And then it is so you can see it's sorted by visited by alphabetically, and so then administrator and everybody is listed in order. You can also change the order of the grid. Go back to change its filter and sort, and then the columns tab. Say you want the visited by listed first. You click on it so it's highlighted. And then over here on the right, where you have the up and down arrow icons, you can click the up arrow and move it over, so you can see visited by is now at the top of the non-report fields. So you click OK, and then you can now see on the left it is visited by is now on the left. You can do that on the grid itself as well if you're more comfortable doing it that way. All you have to do is say, I want reason all the way on the left. So what you do is you just click on the reason column header. Just click on it and hold, and then you can just drag it over to the left, and let go, and it is now moved over. You can also sort without clicking on the change dates filter and sort icon or button by clicking on the column header itself and just letting go. So just single click and it will sort it for you. You can also filter what shows up, what visits show up on this screen. So you click on change dates filter and sort again. Say you only want to see visits by the senior pastor. So you would click visited by, click on the senior pastor, and click OK. And then only the 2 visits that we have recorded for the senior pastor will show up. And then, but say if you want it to go back to how it was, you can either go back to change dates filter and sort, clear out by clicking the X and clicking OK, or you can just close out of visits entirely and open it back up, and it will change your change what shows up. It will basically clear out the options page. It will remember your columns that you have selected and your group and sort. So if once you have it set up how you want, you can close out and come back in. It will remember that. It just doesn't remember your actual filters. And that is really all I have for you today. Let's see if there's any questions out there. Okay. All right, so it looks like Holly has a question on, does the technology exist to place the follow-up on an Outlook or Google Calendar? If not, is that being developed? So at the moment, the follow-up date gets put onto the scheduler. It gets input into the scheduler, and then with scheduler, you can then export that, and you can export scheduler into, I believe it's a vcal file, and then that particular file can then get imported into, say, Google Calendar or Outlook. But there's, at the moment, I don't believe there's any plans at the moment to kind of have it, to let it do that on its own or do that automatically. You have to export to scheduler or set it up in scheduler and then export scheduler itself so it can be imported into other programs. Hopefully that answers your question. I can add that to suggestions though, because I've had a couple people here just recently ask for more options with putting things into other scheduler programs. Okay. Any other questions? Patty asked if the comment section is searchable. Yes, Patty, it is. So what you can do is, with a couple of caveats, essentially. So let me just kind of show. So within, you click the change dates filter and sort, and then in the comments field, you would do a search for whatever particular word you're looking for. Whatever you type in, it's going to look for that basically string of characters exactly. Just for example, if you type in the word Chris in the comments as a search for comments, it's going to bring up any comments that have the word Chris or Christ or Christmas, in it. But so those results, it will bring up anything that has something like that in it. But if you did a search, say but if you did a search for Christmas, the word Chris is will not show up in your search results. And you can't search for essentially two words at the same time, unless you want those two words together. So if you did a search for Christmas Eve, the only search results would be comments that have the exact phrase Christmas Eve in it. You're not going to get some comments that have the word Christmas in it, some with the words Eve in it. And at the moment, within visits, there is not a way to set up any custom fields or anything like that. I can actually I'll add that to suggestions for you, because I can see people be wanting to set up basically different kinds of information within that. But at the moment, there isn't custom fields. Let's see. Any other questions? Not seeing anything else popping in just yet. I'll give you guys a few more seconds to finish the question. While I'm waiting on that, so this webinar has been recorded, and it is going to be put up on the website by the end of the week. So if you came in late, or if you want to just basically rewatch it again, you'll be able to sometime later this week. Let's see. And then also on our website, we have a couple other visits webinars that have been recorded previously that you could also take a look at. Okay. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions pop in, so I'm just going to close out. Everybody, you guys have a good day. Thanks. Bye.